What's up, everybody, and welcome back to TarHeelIllustrated.com, or if you're watching on our YouTube channel, Tar Heel Illustrated. I'm THI staff writer Jacob Turner, and joining me, as he always does, our very own publisher, Andrew Jones. And Andrew, we're here for yet another episode of our UNC football ISO series. And guys, we've been rolling these out all throughout the offseason, going way back. So if you haven't seen those videos and the UNC basketball ISO videos we've been doing, make sure you go check those out. Playlist is linked on the front of our YouTube channel. And of course, guys, make sure you head on over to TarHeelIllustrated.com. See it written right up there. You can find a link in the description below. Sign up for our premium access for just $8.33 a month. You get premium access to our premium boards, and you also get access to premium content. You can't see that stuff if you're not signed up. It's a great time to do it too, with all the recruiting stuff going on. I mean, there's just so much recruiting news and info that's being thrown in the boards and posted on the front every single day. But if you want to access that, you got to be signed up for it. So $8.33 a month will get you that, and it's a great time to do it with recruiting and ahead of the start of fall camp, not too long from now. So do that if you want to. $8.33 a month, link in the description below. But AJ, let's dive into Storm Duck. He's the feature. He's the guy we're going to be focusing on this episode of our UNC football ISO series. And I guess to start with him, we've got to kind of backtrack a couple years to his freshman season at Carolina, where he was just big time, appeared in 13 games, all 13 games, made 9 starts at defensive back, actually finished second on the team with 5 pass breakups and 2 interceptions. And I thought his performances really culminated in that performance in the Military Bowl. He obviously had that pick six that was, I remember I've got a few photos of that I'll throw in this one. I was on the sidelines for that one. And that was really the culmination of, okay, this kid's been really solid all year as a freshman. He showed glimpses, even going back to his first spring game. He had that interception in that game. I believe he had a
pick six in that game too.
Yeah, so that was kind of a big indication of what was to come, and just played, really just looked like one of the best, corners on the team as a freshman, arguably the best corner they had that season as a true freshman, and just really impressed. Now, you fast forward to last year, sophomore season, COVID season. Started in 2 games, but only appeared in 2 games the whole season. Obviously got hurt early on in the season, played up at Boston College, and that was the last game we saw him in the rest of the year. And interesting enough, he actually had the team's best defensive grade against Boston College, according to PFF, which was an 80.6 overall rating, and then goes missing for the last 10 games of the season due to injury. So, unfortunate sophomore campaign for him. Just couldn't, get back on the field after suffering that injury. And, you're looking ahead to spring, obviously was a little bit limited to that, didn't play in the spring game and was still kind of recovering from all that. So, I mean, we're really basing what we've seen off of Storm Duck, particularly, we're basing it on about a 15-game period over a 2-year period, because he's only played in 15 games in his 2 years. And, 13 of those came during his freshman season, like I mentioned. So I guess, first of all, like we kind of always do in these, AJ, what are your overall thoughts on the type of player Storm Duck is? Because for me, I mean, for what we've seen, when he's healthy, he's the real deal.
He was really good in the 2 games he played last year. Mm-hmm. And then as a true freshman, he graded out at 78.7 in the 2019 season. And,
pretty good.
I lean pretty heavily on the people I cover, regardless of the program. If a coach says something and he says something, goes out there and says, hey, this guy is this, I usually give them a lot of credibility in that because they know quite a bit about it. And Mac has said on record multiple times, Storm Duck is a pro. So when you think about that cornerback spot at North Carolina, they've got Tony Grimes, Kyler McMichael, Storm Duck, and they've got some other good players as well. Day Hollins, Obi Egbuna. I mean, we've got really good players they can count on. Yeah. But you've got 3 potential pros, 2 likely pros in Duck and Grimes. McMichael's certainly in that conversation as well. And Duck, when healthy, has proven so far to be the best of the 3. He was outstanding at times as a freshman. Yeah. The kind of player that in pre-snap you would watch, just because like that guy's really good. He's really young and he's really good. And you mentioned the spring game. I'll never forget the pick six he had in the spring game. Mm-hmm. And we're like, okay, usually guys step up and make a name for themselves in spring games. You never hear from them in the fall. That wasn't the case with him. And Mack even said afterward, look, he's been arguably the biggest surprise of the guys that spring. So he backed it up the following fall. Really good player. He covers well. He's really good at the line of scrimmage because he's pretty physical, so he can knock guys off the route a little bit. And he's got those 2 picks a couple years ago, got PBUs, grades out very well, highly technical player, a guy that just has all the specs that you would want from a really good cover guy at the corner. And, you know, he's in a situation where I think this year we might even see the defense take more chances because what Jay Bateman's rolling out there is going to more fulfill the vision he had when he got to North Carolina. Because there are more dudes out there, and they're not going to use the corners and safeties to blitz as much as before because they can get more of that from the guys with the hand on the ground, and they get more of that from the hybrid position. So we may see even more high-level stuff in coverage from Storm Duck and the other guys.
Definitely, yeah. I like what you mentioned about you got more of guys that you want to use now because the staff has been there a little bit longer now and had the chance to recruit the guys they want. So, I like what you said about you could potentially see some changes and probably will in the way Carolina goes about it, especially when you look at the type of athletes that they have on the defensive side of the ball, because it's impressive. And we got to see it in the spring, and there's just some dudes out there. Real quickly, I wanted to add this about Storm. I went to Appalachian State University, and I believe it was his cousin was Clifton Duck, and he was actually a cornerback who played for Appalachian State. I think he was a freshman when I was a freshman there, maybe when I was a sophomore. Ended up leaving early, but he was a freshman All-American at App State, played cornerback, very similar stature, not the tallest guy in the world, not the biggest guy in the world, but man, does he play physical and could he cover? And yeah, so it not really a surprise. And it's just kind of crazy that you had 2 guys like that, one freshman All-American and a Storm Duck that was just amazing as a freshman as well, obviously at a little bit higher level in the ACC. But yeah, there's something going on in that family over there, man, because you talk about some lockdown corners that have proven they can do it at the highest level of college football. So had to throw that tidbit in there because he was one of my favorite players to watch when I was up at school there. And I
think Clifton was an AP Honorable Mention All-America his junior year, wasn't he?
Yep, he was.
First team All Sun Belt. He was in running for Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Year. I'm correct.
Yeah, he got a tryout in the NFL as well. He was in a camp for a little bit. Not sure if he's still playing now, but I think he was with the Bears for a little bit. And he wasn't the most physically built guy in the world and that might be the reason that he maybe went to a little bit smaller university in App State in terms of what you're looking at there. But still, man, big time player for that program. And like I said, something in that family over there because they've got some cornerbacks.
Storm fits the suit.
100%. 100%. Yeah, Storm's you see him. He's not the tallest guy in the world, but man, is he built. So let's move on a little bit. We obviously talked about what we've seen with him in the past, and obviously an unfortunate, run of luck last year with injuries and whatnot. Looking ahead, Max said and told us he expects everybody to be healthy by the spring. By the summer.
Summer.
We're in the summer now. So we got to hold him in his word. We got to hold him in his word. We haven't talked to him as of the recording of this one yet during the summer. That'll be coming up soon. But what are your thoughts and ideas of what Storm Duck his role will be on next year's team if he is in fact fully healthy and ready to go? Because like you mentioned, there's a lot of corners in that position, man. A lot of them.
Yeah, let's also remember that Storm said that there was some discussion about maybe him returning late last season. They didn't pull the trigger on that. So and they were cautious in the spring. We got to see 3 practices plus the spring game. I didn't really see him do much at all.
Yeah,
when I was there, which is fine. You want to be cautious. You always want to err on the side of caution when you're talking about a guy coming back from an injury. And there's no reason for him to bust it in March and April when you've got a lot more time for him to get fully 100%. So I do expect that he will be 100%. His role is to be a lockdown corner. His role is to be a first-team All-ACC guy. We talked a few minutes ago about they've got 3 dudes that can start. They've got 3 starters at the corner spot.
Easily, yeah.
But Mac has said a couple of times, he's a pro. So when Mac says he's a pro, then the expectation should be from Storm Duck this season, he's going to play like a guy who will be in the NFL the following year. That should be the expectation. I think it's a fair expectation. He's that good. And the coach, Mac's not going to plant that seed in the public if it's too much for the kid to handle, if it's not attainable. So it clearly is all those things. So his role is to be one of the best cover corners in the ACC and to play an important role in a team that has a chance to do some special things. Definitely. If they achieve those special things, people outside of North Carolina, people outside of the media that covers the ACC will know who Storm Duck is. He's really talented, and he's a guy that I think can be even better than he has shown. And he's been really good in those 15 games. Really, really, really good. Mm-hmm. I think if you're a corner, and if you're someone who played corner in high school or college or something like that, you understand the position a lot. People that have played the position tell me it's a treat to watch him play. Mm-hmm. And I would imagine it's a field day for Dre Vly to cover a dude that can play like him. So
definitely.
I think Carolina's in really good shape at the corner spot, and as ballyhooed as Tony Grimes is, in the upside, Tony perhaps has a higher upside than Storm Duck down the road. Right now, when healthy, I think that list, when you start naming the best corners of the team, it begins with Storm. He's been there, done that a lot before, and if healthy, there's no reason to expect that he won't continue to do that and maybe even be better.
Definitely, yeah. I think it's just a matter of getting healthy, because it's been a while. If we're taking it back from the spring, the last time we saw him, it's just been a while since he's been fully healthy. So yeah, a fully healthy Storm Duck is the real deal. And hopefully you can get back to that, point. And from what we've heard and what we've been told inside the program, like we mentioned from Mac, saying he expects guys to be healthy in the summer, got to take that at face value. So you expect him to be ready to go come the start of fall camp in August. So yeah, I agree, man. He's a big time player. I really enjoy getting to watch him and cover him his freshman year. Last question, AJ, best name in college football?
I knew you were going to go there.
I got to ask. It's up there.
UNC has great names. Can you imagine a defense? You have Power Eccles in the field, Rama Dilworth, Jabari Ritzie, and Storm Duck. They got a bunch of great. I love great names. It's cool, especially now that NIL's out there. Mm-hmm. If you have a unique name, it's
a good point. Yeah.
More of a brand. People remember you a little bit more. There's some unique types of things people can do with a guy named Storm Duck. So if he gets a pick in Blacksburg that Friday night when a lot of people are watching, and Carolina's rolling and Sam's doing the Heisman thing, people are going to watch the other guys too. So you never know. There might be some interesting opportunities for someone named Storm Duck who also happens to be damn good.
Yeah. It's the name is the name is great, and so he's pretty dang good too, like you mentioned. So had to get that question in, man. The amount of I to this day still see stuff on Twitter with just random college football accounts, some big level ones just mentioning him as the best name in college football and everything. So I had to throw that one out there. That's a dang good one, man. I'm definitely jealous of that one. So
by the way, there's a I grew up in Alexandria, Virginia, just south of Alexandria, in between Mount Vernon and Alexandria. And there's a restaurant I drove by. I was back home recently. I drove by. It's still there. It's called Peking Duck, the Chinese restaurant. So if Peking Duck had a restaurant in Chapel Hill or the Triangle or something like that, they would be a perfect opportunity to NIL with
get Storm on there, man. Hey, I'm sure you'll have some people knocking on the door, man. Storm, like I said, that with that name right there, that's profitability in itself. So so yeah, he that's a good point. We didn't even think about the NIL. He might be in for some big deals down the road. Who knows? But yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap this one up before we go too far down the rabbit hole. But I've been Jacob Turner. He's been Andrew Jones. Like we've mentioned many a times before, if you haven't seen the videos, the UNC football ISO videos we've been rolling out, and the basketball ones as well, click the link, and you click the link to our channel below. You'll see a playlist on the front. You can access all those and do a quick run through, good listening. You know what I mean? So as always, guys, if you enjoyed the podcast, make sure you give it a like. If you're excited for what you're going to see out of Storm Duck and think he's got a lot of potential to get even better, give this video a like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell as well. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thanks.